Hi all. Did you observe all the asset classes, be it gold, real estate or stock, they are entering bubble territory? What is happening? Let me tell you, the biggest monetary shift in 50 years is actually happening. China is dumping US Treasury bonds at record pace. They're planning to float gold-backed yuan, whereas the BRICS economies, they are trying to hit the reset button on entire global financial system. And of course, US cannot be a silent spectator to this. But it is scrambling with radical $37 trillion debt solution involving Bitcoin and gold revaluation. I know this is too complex, but let me break it down for you. We are witnessing end of post-World War II monetary order. That's why this video is absolutely crucial for you. I am going to show you exactly how to safely navigate this historic uncertainty. Whether you are in US, India or anywhere in the world, the decisions made in next few years, this is going to determine if your wealth grows or gets wiped out. So buckle up. We are diving deep into the biggest financial story of our lifetime. If you're new to this channel, I'm Keerthi. I'm a CS and SEMA Level 3 OSS MFT and SCA licensed. I live in Dubai. I love to educate and assist NRIs on tax and investment issues. Because I am an NRI, I understand how difficult it is to manage 4-5 decades and plan for the risk and grow our wealth. In this video, I want to give you some perspective and some thought exercises. Today we are covering the most important financial developments happening right now, because you don't get so much of information in the public platforms. By the end of video, you will understand the battle which is reshaping global finance and have a clear action plan for your money management. So let's get started. The debt crisis, the $37 trillion problem of US, which can become world's problem. Let's talk about how bad it is. America's debt situation is so bad that it owes more than $37 trillion. To put that in perspective, it's about $110,000 for every single American, even kids included. Then what is the real problem? They are overspending. US is spending way more than it is making. In 2025, government plans to spend around $7 trillion, but it is collecting only $5 trillion in taxes. That means they are borrowing another $2 trillion just to keep the lights on. But here is what is really scaring me. Interest payments are now the fastest growing government expense. It's not any other thing, welfare schemes. It's repayment. It's like we using the credit card, one credit card to pay the bill of another credit card. So how has the government traditionally handled this? By working with Federal Reserve. Print money out of thin air. Every time they do this, it has devalued the dollar and created a lot of inflation issues. Your groceries got more expensive, your rent has gone up and your salary didn't. We all experienced it after COVID recently, right? That's exactly the problem. Now let's talk about the Trump solution. Solution number 1, gold revaluation trick. Here is where things are really getting interesting. The US government owns around 261 million ounces of gold. That's a lot of gold. But here is where is the crazy part. On the government books, the gold is actually valued at $42.22 per ounce. Why? Because it was done in 1970s and that was the last updated official price. Now the gold is trading around at $2,400 per ounce today. So the government is sitting on gold worth about 626 billion, but they are only counting it as 11 billion on their balance sheet. So what is President Trump's plan? Revalue gold to the current market price. Suddenly, through that pure accounting magic, the government will create $615 billion in new value. Now they can take this revalued gold and go to Federal Reserve and say, hey, we're pledging this gold. Give us $600 billion in cash to spend. What is the genius part here? This is not technically a loan. The government does not have to pay it back, right? They can use this as a cash. to pay down the debt or invest in restructure, which I really doubt, create more jobs or generate more tax revenue. Ideally, they should be doing this. They really got massive success with this kind of plan in Great Depression time. So they have history. The second plan is using strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now let's move to the crypto part. In March 2025, Trump has signed an executive order creating strategic Bitcoin reserve. Here is where so-called smart part is. They're not buying Bitcoin with the taxpayers' money. Instead, they're using Bitcoin seized from criminals, drug dealers or money launderers or hackers, whatever. Convincing, right? The government is not paying. It is using others' seized money, right? So now they're holding 30,000 and 200,000 Bitcoin. And today's price probably it is 17 billion worth. Instead of selling it, Trump says, I want to hold it like a long-term investment. So just like with the gold, they can revalue this Bitcoin, let's say that 100,000 or more also per coin. Pledge it to the Federal Reserve in exchange for cash dollars. So if the Bitcoin goes, say, $1 million per coin, which some are saying, they could revalue it again and get more cash. The executive order mentions that selling Bitcoin prematurely has already costed government around 17 billion in lost profit. So now we want to hold and revalue it. Now, if he does not know how to match 37 trillion with something else, he's bringing to match it. Regarding the stable coin I have made, which is his third trick, a detailed video, you can watch it over here. See, even here the core idea is expand money supply without technically increasing the national debt. Instead of printing dollars, you are creating digital assets backed by appreciating reserves. Think what could go wrong now. Okay, fine, you are creating multiple assets, right? This all sounds really great on theory, but what are the serious risks we need to talk about and think about? Look at the volatility problem. Bitcoin, to make it worse, it can be really volatile. Gold has crashed before, but Bitcoin is known to lose even 70 to 80% of value. It has done it multiple times in the past. The government pledges Bitcoin to Fed and Bitcoin crashes by 50%. What happens to the balance sheet? And the Federal Reserve's balance sheet gets weaker because the assets backing has lost the value. It is just going to undermine the trust in entire financial system, right? And he even wants to open the retirement account 401k to this asset classes. If people lose confidence in this, they might stop lending money to US government entirely or trust US government and dollar. Whether the assets crashes or inflation again rises due to this excessive spending, excess money supply is there and it is a root cause which was never ever addressed. Now, do we have to die poor? How to handle money in this new world? So what does this mean all for common people like you and me? Since the US went off gold standard in 1970s, they just did it overnight, right? So we have been we have seen pure fiat currency system. These new policies are essentially creating a hybrid system where our money is partially backed by volatile asset classes. How this is going to turn out, only time will tell. How to protect our hard-earned money? Diversification. It is most important than ever. If you put all eggs in one basket, you're just gone. So do this. Consider asset allocation in gold, 10 to 20%, and 1 to 5% in Bitcoin, only if you can afford to lose. Physical real estate, if it matters, if you can, and stock market exposure too, if the long-term fundamentals are strong. Now, I cannot just say that this is one size-fits-all solution. You have to pick whether real estate suits me, crypto suits me, or the physical gold or the digital gold suits me to what extent, and even the stock market, which country and which index is more probably suitable to me. If you are very unsure that I don't know how to pick one individual stock, I would just say that go to ETF. If you are very much sure that yes, this country is a growing country, there is a hope, there is high corporate governance, then go for it. But what I'm telling you is, you should be diversifying in terms of asset classes, and you should be diversifying in terms of even geography. Let me tell you one important point which I really forgot to mention. I decided to emphasize a lot on flexibility. Being able to take control of my asset and move anywhere that I want. Because I don't know which countries are eventually going to be the winner or loser in this battle. If at all I feel very uncomfortable putting all investment in one country, I should be able to sell it off maximum 1-2 days. I should be able to control it. It should be with me so that I can move to another country. I am actually emphasizing on liquidity and diversification as key strategies to protect our wealth in this volatile time. Now, when I tell this, the alternative to US market is only China and India. China is growing from last 1 year, but the corporate governance there is always an issue. So what is another alternative now? India. If you have observed, other than Russia and China, India is the only one country which refused to bend to the tariff tantrums of Mr. President Trump. Why? Because they have some strategic plan. They are not letting the external interference in the any foreign policies or the economic policies, anything that threatens sovereignty or the long-term prospect of the nation. They're saying no, we are not going to do this. This is very important. If India says yes to Trump's pressure right now, then he might pressurize even India to adopt crypto as a payment or create its own Bitcoin reserve, or he can decide what is the peg, which is going to be later. So if at all a country has that vision and confidence in turning entire nation towards self-reliance and talks about Atmanirbhar Bharat, then my trust goes with India. And I see that as a hedge to whatever the systematic risk I am talking about in US economy. See, think UPI, the homegrown digital payment system which processes billions of transactions and shows how India can, if it wants, achieve complete self-sufficiency in any infrastructure. Now, if we want to talk about the prospect of India, India represents a massive internal economy, 1.4 billion people with rapidly growing wealth. When people are taking out 401k early with penalty, they feel hopeless about US. India's domestic investors, DIIs, they give strong buffer to the stock market even when FII started pulling out massively. I know US dollar won't vanish overnight until a truly credible alternative emerges. The dollar might even get pegged to Bitcoin or another asset classes in the future, we don't know. But how to hedge a systematic risk in US economy while staying invested in USD denominated assets? Enter Gift City. Gift City is your wealth protection strategy. Gift City, Gujarat International Finance Tech City, is India's answer to international financial centers like Hong Kong or Singapore. And let me tell you why it is brilliant genius for wealth protection. There is something called Gift City AIFs. They offer easy transaction with the international standard, and it's a real hedge against US economic risk, systematic risk in the economy, because it is diversifying into India's growth story. And it is USD dominated investment. So you are not actually exposing yourself to any kind of currency risk. Most of the people are always bothered about, INR versus USD appreciation and depreciation. And there is also regulatory protection because it is under India's robust financial framework. Think about it. You got exposure to one of the world's fastest growing major economies because we are growing more than at 7%. And you stay invested in USD, you are avoiding currency fluctuation and you are protected from US economic instability. If something goes really bad there or even potential dollar devaluation, you have something left out here. Maybe you are nearing your retirement, you might have made hundreds of crores, but even to protect what you have done, you need to hedge your portfolio. And AIF can be really credible alternative to this. Let me tell you, the smart money is not picking side. I don't know whether it is Russia or China or US, but I know that I have to diversify across the economy. If you want to invest in Gift City AIFs, just click the link below and get a free consultation call with me. That's it for today. See you next week with another interesting video. Till then, bye-bye.